All right. Welcome back to another No Missed Opportunities weekly. This week, I was able to move our location, and in the process of doing that, I was able to utilize everything that was the time spent at our previous location for tax purposes. Our new location is going to be a little bit closer to some of the existing projects that we have. In the last week, I was able to meet with the pastor for Grace Lutheran Church that has currently been doing construction at Grace Lutheran Church for our computer lab. Veteran Services is what it is. Actually, let me see. I have some information here about the existing projects that he's doing, so that way we can put them online and on the website, nomissedopportunities.com. As you know, being able to do things mobily is kind of what the purpose of these meetings are. I have an attendee that will be attending and watching the meetings. And we discussed some of the benefits and the disadvantages of doing the Zoom meetings interviews. It was extremely enlightening. Were you able to find it?
Yes.
Okay. So again, I was able to get some, let's see, get that on there. If you go ahead and check that out, read this out to you guys as well. This is currently for the St. Paul Church, which is on 3901 West Adams Boulevard. Okay. That's Los Angeles, California, 90018. What they're offering, all right, is going to be youth counseling. Okay. Treatment center, supportive services. Hey, Julian, how are you? Julian's going to be kind of sitting in this meeting to watch and maybe attend future meetings. I was just kind of letting him know some of the things that No Missed Opportunities is doing. And a lot of times people want to come in and sit in the meeting first to kind of see how it works. We're currently discussing some of the existing projects that No Missed Opportunities has been offering at a local church here. Again, the meetings are going to be on the YouTube channel, which is No Missed Opportunities YouTube channel. So you can go and find the links online through the name No Missed Opportunities. And if you have trouble with any of that, you can also reach out directly via email, which is NMOinfo@gmail.com. So some of the services that St. Paul actually is currently offering is youth counseling, treatment center, supportive services, and veterans referral services. Okay. I met with St. Williams, the pastor for St. Paul. He's also currently doing remodeling at Grace Lutheran Church, which if you go to Grace Church LA on Facebook, it has a lot of the information on there. And I'll make sure that's updated on our YouTube as well. So we have the services that are currently being offered at St. Paul's, and we are doing construction, so that way those services can also be offered at Grace Lutheran Church in Los Angeles. Also tomorrow we do have the food giveaway, which we do every Friday, which is 11 p.m. through 3 p.m. That's going to be 3901 West Adams Boulevard at St. Paul's, zip code 90018. And this is updated information about that. Okay. Some of the requirements: you're going to need to have your face mask and gloves. You must bring your own bag, and you maintain 6 feet of social distancing. We also could utilize volunteers for that, as well as donations. Again, that's going to be NMOinfo@gmail.com if you want to kind of get involved in that. There's also this has a phone number on there that you can contact Mia, and her phone number is going to be 760-947-3317. So that's a weekly giveaway that we do. That again is promoted online. Let's see, we got Scott here. Hey Scott, how's it going? How you doing today? How's your morning treating you? Your microphone's off.
You are exactly correct. Now it's on.
Okay. All right. See, we getting this together for you, Scott.
I got it on the computer now because I remember I was using my phone, but I went to the text that you sent me and I copied it, I pasted it in my email, so I was able to use my PC, which I'm doing right now. I've also moved the light. I don't know if the
your lighting, you look good. It looks good. It looks good. It looks way better from the first two. I think you took and utilized that information and came in handy.
I moved the light in back of the computer so it's facing me instead of in back. So yeah, I can see myself better right now with the light.
That's what's up. I have another member that is a little bit interested, and I was explaining to him that we were doing these meetings. He gave me some feedback about the interviews that he's been doing. And first let me let everyone know that, this is Scott. Scott is someone that we're working with that is going to be doing the virtual classes for the schools that we offer. It's not going to be limited to anything specifically because Scott is well versed in multiple subjects and multiple ages. So being able to do these meetings allow you to be able to reach out to Scott. Again, if you hover over the screen, there's at the bottom, you can actually chat directly with Scott if you want to grab his information or communicate with him private or public. So those are things that are available to you while we do the meetings. Scott, go ahead and give me your synopsis, because I didn't get a chance to do a post meeting with you last week, how you felt about the meeting.
I like the meeting. I like that the gentleman that was speaking, I was going to ask you about who he was. I really enjoyed to hear him speak. I mean, his command of the English language was flawless. It's like stuff you hear like about 40 years ago. I mean, his diction and his vocabulary, and he sounded like a Shakespearean actor. I don't know if I asked you about who he was. I don't think I was introduced to him. But I really enjoyed listening to him and getting some of his feedback on some things to do, which I've done. So that it was very good.
That's awesome. JB is a consultant for No Miss Opportunities, and he helps me with my professionalism, which I'm in the process of that. It's kind of a growing thing for me, transitioning from a for-profit business to the nonprofit and being able to work with, guys like yourself. And he kind of instills a lot of formalities from his experience. And one of the things that he felt about the last meeting that we had was, he expressed that some of the stuff that we discussed about in the details of the transitioning are proprietary to No Missed Opportunities. Okay. And the idea that we're kind of ahead of the game with you as a teacher and an instructor available to us, that would make our school currently better than what they're having to deal with. And I couldn't argue that at all. So he requested that meeting be an internal private meeting. And I was like, I like the idea of them being able to be public, but some of the things that he said that we discussed should kind of remain private for us, because it makes us a lot more advanced with some of the information that we exchanged back and forth last week. I couldn't really argue that very much, because I can honestly tell you, your entire look of how you're set up right now with your background, 1,000% different. You know what I mean? So you being able to log into the meeting with the already existing prior link is already showing that from the last meeting to this meeting, you're getting a little bit more comfortable. And then we want you to be, ready to deal with, potentially children that are going to be more advanced than us with this technology. So we assume that, me helping with it, I still learn from this, which is why I had Julian kind of sit in with us, because he's currently doing interviews. And he was saying, some of the things don't necessarily transition through doing a video interview versus an in-person interview. He also expressed some of the fundamentals of what an interview entails in regards to your dress. Okay. We're comfortable enough where after these last few meetings, we can kind of show up and be normal, and not necessarily have the same attire that you would have for typical interview. Okay. And that's relatively new. So he was expressing feeling overdressed in a virtual meeting, and those are things that are yet defined in the etiquette of these meetings, which is kind of the reason for the meetings. So that way people can get a little more comfortable. The reason why I try to make the meetings public is so that way other people can watch them, and it should be inviting to them. This particular week, I wasn't doing a lot of the marketing because I've transitioned from the Orange County area back to Los Angeles to be a little bit closer to some of the projects that I have going on over here. I don't know if you were in the part of the meeting where I discussed that these transitions are things that we can utilize to write off for the taxes, that actually in this second year of No Missed Opportunities is going to become our funding. So trying to maintain all the stuff that you're dealing with right now, leading up to these meetings, all the time that you spent coming up with the curriculum, preparing for us to meet weekly. Those are things that you got to keep track of for the sake of write-offs, because then when I submit that, this is our development. That's kind of what the meetings are for. It's showing, hey, look, we meet on a regular basis, regardless of the pandemic. And it's just like if we met in the office, okay, because your time is that of value. Okay. So the first year we may spend just almost billing ourselves to be able to open up the virtual school for the kids. Okay. And that may be better than them opening up the virtual schools that they're opening up right now. And they're dealing with these type of issues, live, so it's a weekly work in progress, I think, for everybody involved. I wish, well, it's a good and a bad thing that JB expressed that there were some internal information things that we shouldn't necessarily make public. Okay. Because we're far ahead of the game in the idea that we have a smaller group of people that are giving us the feedback. Whereas trying to, I imagine it's extremely challenging for the school system to even be able to um, kind of do this stuff offhand, you know what I mean? And then there's a huge backlash with the children there already. So I don't necessarily want to deal with that as a liability for the virtual school at all. He also expressed that he expressed the idea of it being a little bit organized, the meetings themselves. But we kind of headbutted at that because the concept of the virtual meetings is just really inviting people into the meeting period. Okay, because we're going to learn from that particular experience. This week, I didn't necessarily want to do a very long meeting, nor did I want to invite a lot of people in because the transition from one place to another, kind of had me like, all right, well, I need to set it up and make sure I do it so that way we don't miss it. But one of the things that was really exciting is on Monday, I met with the pastor at the church down here, and they're building us a whole computer lab. Okay. And I was going to try to rush to get to the computer lab so that way I could, do the meeting there, but it's still under construction. So, I'd be generally walking through a construction site that I know that everybody's going to say, well, what's it going to look like when it's done? They don't really care about the construction part. They don't really take into consideration that there's other moving parts. So that way in the future, you won't necessarily have to come to a facility, but we're having a facility built at the church that's a resource center. So that way having you to be able to be prepared, so that way we can broadcast you on a big screen TV in a room full of 10 people at a time is generally why we're doing this now. So that way my end of it's set up. So that way when we have the construction finished, we're going right in there. My teacher's already ready to go. There's classes available, and there's a place for people to sign up. It's a full-on facility, which I'll send you some of the links because I'm not actually versed enough to be able to pull them up online just yet with the screen sharing. So I don't want to bumble through the screen sharing and not have it right just yet. But one of the things too also is we spent a lot of time really kind of focused on the schooling and the virtual classes last week, and I knew that you had expressed some of your experience with other members, and the time kind of was spent on other people that were in the meeting. But one of the things that I wanted to really do was kind of step back and let JB ask you some of the questions that he asked you to kind of, have you a little bit more prepared, because dealing with the children, we don't necessarily want to lose focus. Because once we lose focus with a small child, it's over at that point. Yeah. It's over at that point. So I'm not sure if I want to market this meeting per se, just because I'm a little worn out from this last week of work. Okay. But I definitely usually when I'm in the meeting, I usually give you an opportunity to kind of express some of the stuff that you have going on and some of the ideas that you have on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then what I'll do is I'll invite a few people to the meeting, but this meeting, I want to probably just keep it like maybe 30 minutes, and to give us a little bit more time that it was more concentrated on, just a recap of last week.
Mm-hmm. I don't really have anything basically to say about it. Just, slowly but surely being more comfortable with the procedures and that sort of thing, and see how it goes, and as time goes on. So,
mm-hmm. Have you been running across some of the same issues during the pandemic? As far as being able to get students as far as your marketing goes?
No, I haven't. I haven't really done any of that yet. Uh, yeah, I'm working on it though.
What has been your method?
No, haven't really. As far as what getting students,
Yeah.
mm, I haven't really started doing it yet. I don't know what the procedure is. So I'm supposed to be going out and soliciting students, or what the procedure is. I really, oh, I don't think we discussed that much last time
Hmm.
about me getting students. Um, you know, but I don't know what's the procedure. What should the procedure be on that?
Um, do you think that I'm not sure if trying to solicit the children from the schools is going to be the best place to market. I really, my thoughts on this was going to be more, I'm more interested in the private, in developing a private school. Um,
I was thinking maybe putting something on Craigslist about that I'm a teacher, and if you need tutoring services, and a little bit of my biography.
mhm.
And because the only experience I had recently with Craigslist is just responding to a couple of ads, people looking for tutors, and maybe thousands of people applied for those positions. So I never heard about it, but just placing my own ad, like, I've been teaching 30 years and I've got experience, and I know times are tough with distance learning, but I can help your child. Maybe something like that. I think.
Have you tried Facebook, or have you tried Craigslist?
Just for responding to ads, but not for placing my own ad.
Okay, so you haven't placed your own ad
I
just
haven't
yet.
placed my own ad, but I'm thinking
Okay.
of doing that.
Okay. Um, my idea of the virtual classes in the long term is more ideal for a private school. The reason why is because from my research, doing it as a private school, um, I think is a higher dollar than trying to just get um, like a regular curriculum as a tutor. Um, I think that the focus would be, I think, because I actually believe that through a private school, your parent is going to be a little bit more financially stable to do that rather than just tutoring, until we're able to get, maybe look into funding for um, potentially doing the tutoring. But I also need to check into how the pastor is doing the already existing services. I think that maybe because they're doing the services through the veterans, um, there may be an opportunity to I know there will be students there, but I don't know if, well, I don't, I have to figure out how that works out for the write-off sake, because I think if we volunteer the time for the first year, then that ends up being what we're billing for. I'm learning a little bit more recently about the write-off process. Um, One of the things that I went into thinking about uh, um, earlier this week was the concept of actually having an accountant. And there's huge liabilities in trying to have somebody actually delegating the accounting off to somebody else with the nonprofit, which I've found in the recent weeks. Just including certain people into the nonprofit causes huge liability. It just kind of opens it up for people that are not necessarily incentivizing the future that we're trying to develop. Let's see. I'm currently reaching out to one of our affiliates in Las Vegas who has a business that I'll be doing some of the marketing stuff for. Trying to do a lot of times what I do with the meetings is invite people into the meetings while we're currently in the meetings, because if they know that it's live, then they'll actually come to it, versus, you know when the meeting is every week right now, so to kind of check in, but unless someone has a major incentive there, it almost needs to be live for them to have a value of it, which is the concept of being able to promote the YouTube video so people have a general idea of what the meeting is about prior to getting into it. But last week, like I said, we discussed so many things that maybe be beneficial for internal reasons that I understood what JB was saying and why he was saying it. I couldn't really argue that, because some of the stuff that we touched on, I know that the school system itself is probably going through a lot of red tape to find out the answers to that, where it was actually that meeting I can actually send to you directly. So that way, if you want to go over it and kind of, research some of the bullet points that he brought up, it's ideal for you, and actually us being able to be more advanced than other people. I can already see just from you doing it live, you made a lot of adjustments just in your whole background and how clear you are in the video. This is also something too that I know Julian watching, being able to see that, because when we were discussing it, he was saying that something doesn't actually just translate when you do an interview on a video. And I was like, well, I do these meetings like weekly, and it's so that way we could learn how it works. Have you used the chat on Zoom?
Zoom, yes. He was like the doctor, like a teledoc, and
okay.
Yeah.
So, and last week we went over like screen shares and stuff like that.
I need to play with that a little bit.
No, you and me both. You see, I'm not inviting myself to be screen sharing right now. So don't believe that you're the only one that's still learning that. I'm not about to be opening up screen sharing and fumbling through it on this meeting. I'm gonna do a little research. Something else too something else that JB actually brought up about that. I told him the incentive of that meeting brought up a lot of different future meetings. Like, for instance, somebody may want to go on a one-on-one to practice those screen shares. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that's something that we can actually offer somebody, have an hour individually. So that way it's not live. The reason why I put it live was because it's just the fundamental meeting that we're going to have that spawns into other meetings from the situation. I'm not sure if, I'm sure Lynn told you about the Guava Jam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something about it. Yeah.
Okay. So were you in the meeting for the Guava part last week?
That was the beginning of the meeting last week.
That was the beginning of the meeting last week. But by later on that night, we had Guava Jam. Okay. So it was really cool to see that developed into it. And then I remember I promoted to Casey, and Casey goes, well, I want some of the Guava Jam, right? And I'm like, yeah, Casey. Okay, if you're going to do the Guava Jam, I definitely want a reaction video of how you felt about the Guava Jam prior to me doing the Guava Jam, and then now how good the Guava Jam tastes. Okay, so the Guava Jam ended up being a product that, because we had the Zoom meeting, we were able to produce. Now there were some other liabilities I'm sure you've heard about due to the guavas. I got to work on a better community garden situation. I talked to the secretary of the nonprofit, right? And he stops and he goes, "I didn't know we had guavas there." I said, "What do you think I was watering all summer?" I was watering all summer. There was a whole tree back there. I got grapes. Those were thrown away. No one really got the kind. They were like, "We've never had grapes before." You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure that there was never guava jam made there. And at this point, it was too much productivity, I think, which is why I'm currently at a new location. I'm gonna keep the community gardens away from the product development center is what I've learned from that. Okay, because I don't think I would have had the same issue. And this again is something that I'm learning from. I don't think I would have had the same issue if I took the guavas and never even mentioned the guava jam. I think if we were producing guava jam and I was just collecting and throwing away the guavas, I don't believe that there would have been a problem. So compartmentalizing the stuff that we have going on, I understand the value of that because not everybody needs to know every single piece. Last week, EJ called me. That was the clothing designer from the 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He called me and he goes, "Am I late for the meeting?" And I go, "Dude, these are going to be weekly. Don't, you know what I mean? Just, every person that comes in is a learning experience." I know. I also spoke with Nikki attended last week. She didn't speak. She just kind of viewed. I don't know if you saw that.
Don't remember.
Okay. Last week, Nikki attended. Nikki is a Pepperdine graduate. I met with her on Monday, and Nikki currently has a brand called Woo Sauce in a grocery retailer that's like a organic store. It's called Air One. Okay, so I'll be posting the pictures and stuff up. In the process of moving into the new location, I hadn't really had enough time to really upload all the pictures and the video. And I was able to meet with her. The reason why I was meeting with Nikki was because the guava jam is something that we can put in retail grocery stores. Okay, because taking a product that we have access to, making the product, putting a sticker on the product, getting the product approved, and then putting it on the shelves is ultimately going to generate us money. But streamlining that process all at one location is not ideal because not everybody's department per se needs to see that. Okay, so it's the same way with these meetings with you. You got EJ who may actually be making the uniforms for the school, okay? But there's part of the schooling that EJ don't need to be a part of. Same way with JB. I spent a good amount of time with him expressing my professionalism, my language, my options. Same way with Nikki. There's a lot of, okay. They've actually really been telling me I need to do a makeover, a professional makeover in the process. So I'm like, and I got to do the meetings. Okay. Then I got to try to get, I have a younger PR guy who, he currently does Postmates. So he does Postmates during the busy time of day, which is right now. So, you know what I mean? All I can do is record the meetings and send them to him. But then if I have JB saying, all right, well, we got internal information in the meeting, and they can't be publicized, then that means I got to watch a whole hour-long meeting, take the internal parts out, okay, hope that you actually gain some of the stuff, send you the meeting, go over that meeting with you, and then be prepared for next week's meeting. Meeting with the pastor, meeting with Nikki, going to check out Air One for the woo sauce where we can actually develop the guava jam, making the guava jam, getting the supplies for the guava jam. So I expressed last week the time management. One of the things that was hard this week is actually being able to move to a new facility and then making sure that I'm here for this meeting, because Scott might show up because the meeting was so good last week. He wants to know what's going on, as well as present. If someone watches the last meeting, how your camera was set up and the things that we went through compared to how your camera's set up right now, and the background and how clean it is, that's exactly what that meeting was for. And you could see the progression from the first meeting to now. So that's the incentive of being able to invite somebody like Julian, who's actually doing current interviews, where he's not necessarily used to the process. I don't need to have 100 people in this meeting right now, okay? Because we're still developing our process. Like now I know, next week, if you want to be a speaker, I can promote you. Oh, that's also something I didn't touch on. Okay, so also too, Monday I met with an app developer. Some of the things that I was going to have the app developer do a presentation this week, but he's in India. Okay, so there's a 12-hour difference. That means that it would be 12:30 right now having him doing an app demo. I don't know if that's the ideal time for anybody to be working. So I told him, I go, look, I said, I would have you come into this next meeting. I said, but you know what? What I'll do is, because I meet with him every Monday via, we don't use Zoom. We use Google Meets. Have you used Google Meets yet?
That's the one our school district is using for substituting this year. And I just experimented with it a little bit. If I go to my Gmail page, for my email, there's a thing on the left that says, join meeting. So I play around with it a little bit. It seems like it's pretty easy to use since I already have Gmail. Supposed to be a little easier than Zoom.
The Google Meet, how many members of the Google Meets have you actually been in a meeting with?
I haven't used it yet. I was just told by one of the principals that for substituting, we're using Google Meet, and I just played around with it to see how it works and how to use it. And I haven't really been in an official meeting with it yet. Just experimenting.
Okay. I've been using the Zoom for the simple fact that Zoom is kind of like a buzzword right now. People are, really kind of learning about it, and a lot of people are using the platform. I haven't figured out how to record in Google Meets, but I'm sure you probably can. As far as the platform goes for the schooling, it's interfaced, where more than likely we're going to be doing the classroom settings with the Google Meets. So that's something that how the interface works. There's a couple of different products available that work directly with Google to be able to do the online classrooms. And then the only reason I'm not going into the exact name about those classrooms, because I've researched this since the first time we talked about actually taking on coming up with the name. Remember, I was expressing we needed to come up with a specific name, because I did not necessarily want the virtual school and No Missed Opportunities to be the same entity. okay, because of the liability reasons. So I'm not saying in this meeting, because of proprietary information, that, you know, after this meeting I'll send you the direct link to what that platform is, but that's actually done all through Google. So instead of setting it up under No Missed Opportunities, I wanted to come up with our actual name for private school, so that way we can facilitate through the Google Meets. More than likely, it's going to be Google Meets. We're not going to necessarily use Zoom. So, all right. So I'm dealing. What's it called? I got a message from EJ. He's expressing that. Okay, let's see. This is him entering right now. EJ, what's going on? Let's see. This is your microphone muted? All right. I think he might be attending in stealth mode, which, you know, I want you. This is something else too. Okay, Scott, you had a. Oh, there he is. All right. What's going on, EJ? So you gotta watch out for the kids. They might be attending in stealth mode too, Scott. You know what I mean? They may be in class, but not really in class. Okay. This is how they did school nowadays, is what I'm coming to find out. All right, that's the new way to do it. So I've been kind of talking to some of my nephews about some of the ins and outs of, you know, virtual schools. And I talked to my nephew. He goes, Uncle Nick, are you going to be teaching classes? And I went, no, I'm not going to be teaching. I'm not going to be teaching classes. No. And he goes, I said, well, what's the name of your school? He goes, I'm not telling you because I don't want you to show up to my school teaching classes. All right. but I laughed because like I told you when we first started this, I think this is payback for being such a bad kid growing up. Just putting these together. He goes, Uncle Nick, I'm not telling you what school. You ain't coming to my class. He said, you're not going to come to my virtual school. So it's a learning process, man. Even for me, Scott. So don't feel like you're alone with it. Trying to do the live. This is, I promise you, time management. You know, I'm just holding it together, Scott. Okay, because as soon as I close this, I'm gonna go straight to sleep. Okay. You know, and it's because I got Julian and East to, you know, checking in. You know, and like I said, they come in and they want it. Look, right now, like they come in almost because it's from 12 to 1. So they're like, yeah, well, I'm late, but I'm still on time because I'm there. I was supposed to have somebody else that, let me see if I was gonna have Ed show up last week too, and it was funny because Ed actually downloaded the software, and he couldn't come to the meeting because he spent the whole hour last week downloading the software to the meeting. So that's why I felt like it was a success, because it was like, well, you know, he's one step closer to attending the meeting. So let me see if I could. And then also too, I want to shorten the links, because when I send the whole link for the Facebook link, it gives you all the information about the meetings on a weekly basis. So that gives you an opportunity to like the link and then go back to the Facebook page, which has a lot of the information. But again, that's a time management thing, trying to upload all that information, meet with the individual people, You know, plan the next week's meeting, get a speaker for next week's meeting, hold the meetings with people, like, and then find out that there's a time difference that's 12 hours. It causes me to really have to, you know, it's a lot of work. Okay, it's a lot of work, but I think after the first year, I'll be able to breathe a little bit better, you know. But it's a process. So that is one of the things that I have to itemize some of the I have to make time to go through the last meeting, because there were so many, we touched on so many different things in the last meeting. You know, and like I said, it's cool to be able to see the changes, you know. I can see you way clearer now. I've invited enough people that I think maybe, let me see if I can, in the last few minutes here, I'm gonna see if I can do like a screen share. I gotta close out. Actually, I know what I can do. I'll minimize this. I'm gonna try to use my my technology expertise. All right, let's see. Let's see how this screen share thing works. All right, I don't want full screen. All right, more. All right, share desktop. Okay, are you able to see my? Oh wait. Okay, there we go. Okay, so are you able to see my desktop now?
Yeah, I see your desktop. Yeah.
All right, let's see. Okay, this is good. Okay, so this is, earlier in the meeting, I discussed that we are actually doing construction at this particular location. Okay, Grace Church, or I'm sorry, No Missed Opportunities, or NMOgracechurch.blogspot. Okay, so this is one of the websites that I built that's basically informative about some of the current projects that we have at Grace Church. Something I discussed earlier in the meeting is our food distribution. Okay, and I need to make the adjustment. This is going to be something I'm going to adjust, because it's every Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So I got the hours off a little bit. So I'm going to make those adjustments on this. This is also one of the incentives that they did. All right. I don't know if that ended. Okay. So that, we did the Christmas tree lot last year. That was a fundraiser. This is the kitchen that they remodeled this kitchen area. Some of the projects that we did was cleaning that stove there with some of the members. This particular location is going to be where they're going to put the computer lab. So I was going to rush over there today, but they're still in the construction process. So they're also accepting donations to fix this tower here because it was kind of leaning. Let's see. Okay, as you can see, no missed opportunities, a division of Grace Church. So this is why we're having these meetings. So eventually these meetings will be held at this location. And this goes into being able to accept the donations. And again, so West Coast LLC with the online services, Wayfair West, which is the product development, where we were able to make things like the guava jam. And I also do the marketing and no missed opportunities, which I need to make the update. But the blog actually has a lot of our projects, but we've currently moved this particular website to nomissopportunities.com. So again, this is where we're going to be housing a lot of the stuff that we're working on. All right. All right. That's an official screen share. All right.
Okay.
I think I did. You know, what I mean, I don't think I did too bad on that one. All right. I learned that I think I could actually play a video now. It'll save me a little time. I can move forward. Now I know to prepare for a video. It'll save me a little bit of trouble next week if I want to do rebroadcast a video that'll save me some time, give me some breathing room. I think that now I know how to do it.
Okay.
So that's you know, that's again the process of trying to do these live, because then I'm able to upload this and go, look, I don't know how to do everything perfect. All right. You know, luckily I didn't bumble that up too much. Okay. But all I can do is improve on. Now I know how to do a live screen share. Okay? And luckily it was something that popped up of value that, that kind of ties into it. So
yeah,
I'll be able to work on my presentations. And then maybe next week, I can kind of, you know, walk you through what I learned how to do that. And then we can expand on that, because I think most of the lessons are probably going to be screen sharing.
Okay. All right.
So, and I don't want you to think that, you know, my chest isn't on fire right now, you know, hoping I don't mess that up on live. You know what I mean? On my end, Scott. Okay, so don't, you know, don't think that I'm just I'm cool enough to know how to do this. All right, I go through the same issues that you have with trying to figure it out. All right, and I do it live, so that way, if there is a problem or we do run across an issue with it, you know, I can do it first, and I'm not as tech savvy as I am. I understand that not everybody is that tech savvy, okay? And some people are kind of like, well, I don't want to press this because then something might happen. And it's like, I might be able to share my screen. that may be what happened. I may be able to learn, you know, how this works and better improve upon it. Do I have the anxiety towards that? Yes. Okay. Do I want to, you know what I mean? Do I want to be breathing like this after having done that? Yes, I do. Okay. Am I scared something's going to pop up on my computer while doing that? Yes. but I made it through it. All right.
Okay.
Is that information of value? I believe so.
Yeah.
So this is why I think that the meetings are really good, because being able to invite, like I was telling Julian about this before inviting him to the meeting, okay? Because here's a fun fact, right, before this is over. Okay, Julian's in the same room with me. Okay, he's in the same room with me, but he's able to watch the meeting where he's able to view it and see what kind of goes on because of what he was actually experiencing doing. Like Julian did a job interview earlier today. Yeah, this morning. Okay, and I expressed to him, and I was asking him how he felt about that. And I go, hey, I'm about to do a Zoom meeting right now. Okay, I said, do you want to be a part of it? He goes, maybe I just want to watch. Okay, just want to watch first. And I explained to him that's the importance of it. So being able to have, you kind of come to the meeting, me kind of go through the process of a screen share, EJ basically come and ditch school. All right. EJ's been here the whole time. He got his microphone off. I think EJ told me he was gonna go take a shower. All right, is what my text was. All right, so that's how these kids are ditching school. All right, no, and look, Scott, you were in the meeting, which I expressed to EJ. Some of the things you don't necessarily have to do during the meeting. All right, so EJ was old school ditching with his camera on last time. All right, I'm like, all right, EJ, you know what I mean? Let's. And I always laugh because I've gone to a couple of these meetings and I'll smoke in the meeting, okay? But I always smoke cigarettes, all right? Now I understand that, in California, marijuana is legal, but realistically watching EJ roll up in the middle of the meeting, the first one, I was like, oh my God, I guess maybe there should be some rules, you know what I mean? Because I could see everybody's face. So everyone was like, you know what I mean? And he's just regularly working. We doing Zoom. I'm like, yeah. It's a nonprofit, man. Like, we got, ideally, we don't want the guy who designs the uniforms. We may turn this into a virtual school, which is why I was saying having no missed opportunities and another entity for the virtual schools may be of value. So it again is a learning process for us.
It is a learning process, yes. So
I promise you, I'm almost profusely sweating over here behind doing my screen share. I'm so happy that it's almost 1 o'clock. Like I'm breathing all hard for my screen share. I'm like, oh, nothing. I think that just went fine. Like I made it. So I'm glad that you stopped in. I'm very glad that you're sticking with it. I think that what I can do is I can actually set up a ad on Craigslist for us for the school. Since you haven't done that yet, I can set it up for us so that way we can start seeing how that works. Okay.
That would be good.
And then that'll be, again, like how we were able to do the guava jam. What we learned was we did the screen share. We know that we can do the marketing. I think I love your background. Like you're super clear. You know what I mean? I'm almost kind of freaked out that you're in it because you're so clear in this video. And usually, you're on your phone and it's kind of small.
Yeah.
But here, even if you were able to do like kind of a whiteboard or anything back there, I would clearly be able to see it. But we also did a screen share, which means that you probably won't have to do a whiteboard. You'll be able to do it from the curriculum, the classes. And once we set up our curriculum, clearly at this point, I can set it up online like a website. And then we can do the curriculum like that, where they don't actually even see you or your background, or they see you for a small moment of time while you do the lesson. And then it ends up being like Julian and Eastus who are doing the homework at that point.
Okay.
Okay, so from my understanding, the development of these virtual classes, they're not going to go anywhere. I want to say, I don't know if it was you or if I saw somewhere that I believe that they've already expanded this out till January.
Long Beach, I saw was February. I think I saw February for Long Beach.
Yeah, I think we might have a little bit of time. We might be ahead of the curve with these meetings because I could only imagine they're having to deal with these meetings live with the students, which I believe that that'll completely cause people to lose focus.
Mhm.
You know, so I definitely want to have our I want to have our structure down before we, you know, start accepting students. You know, so these again are going to serve as um, our incentive for tax write-off to kind of fuel this going into the next year. So as of right now, these classes, we got a lot of time before they go anywhere, and they might even expand, especially coming into this holiday season.
Okay.
Okay. So I will meet with you or give you a call a little bit later. I'll send you some links about some of the things that we stated were proprietary to us. And then I'll also send you the link to the last week's video, so that way you can kind of go over that and some of the questions that JB had, and then we'll just move from there next week.
Okay, great.
All right.
All right,
So
very
it's
good.
definitely a pleasure, Julian. Thanks for checking in and kind of being the addition to these meetings. Scott, it's definitely always a pleasure. And by midweek, or I'm sure by Monday, I'll be able to have that. I'll have it up sooner than Monday, but I'll have the Craigslist ad up.
Okay.
So that way we can go from there.
All right, great.
All right.
All right.
Great
Thank you.
meeting, gentlemen. Great meeting.
Great meeting. Thanks. I will catch you guys all next week.
All right. Take
All right.
care.
Indubitably.